see if we are live.
We are live.
We are live.
Welcome to the Laws of Sex. I'm your co-host, Blanca, and this is the main host, Dr. Stacy Friedman. How are you, Stacy?
I am doing very good because we're actually on. So
there you go. Oh, you're going to want to
today.
lower your volume on your cell phone so we don't hear it.
Volume's off.
So what are we talking about tonight, Stacy?
Well, I think when we talked about last week, we talked a lot, or the week before, we talked about intimacy with yourself and how important it was to connect with not just your partner, but with yourself. And with everything going on right now with the coronavirus and everything, I don't want to harp on that negativity, but I want to be able to find positivity in this situation because a lot of people are stuck home with their partners. That may be a good thing, may not be a good thing. But I think one of the laws of sex that I want to talk about is making sure that you're building a foundation or that you have a foundation that's built in order to keep the intimacy alive.
Okay.
So, yes.
Foundation, super important in any type of relationship. So how do you build that?
Well, there's a few different ways. And one of the ways that I wanted to talk about first is I think it's very important for everyone to have their own self-development because a lot of times people will look to their partner to fulfill them or to make them happy. And you need to be able to develop on your own. You need to be able to have similar core values and beliefs. I think that's very important when you're with a partner because many times you could have somebody that feels very strongly about one way and then the other person doesn't. And sometimes it causes issues and you're afraid to talk to that person and they're afraid to talk to you because you don't value the same things. So I think that developing yourself and seeing what you are all about is very important.
Absolutely.
I think that also people, let's say, exercise, spiritual beliefs. What are some other ways that you can grow and self-develop?
Confidence.
Building confidence. Making your own friendships, having your own hobbies. You don't always have to do everything with your partner. And when you are doing that on your own, but yet growing together and doing things together, once you are feeling more whole about yourself, that is a great way to build foundation.
It is. I mean, the self-love is a foundational element. If you don't love yourself, how can you possibly express love to someone else? And one of the things that's been really hard for me to do is sometimes I have to separate from my tribe, my family tribe and my friendship tribe, and go do something that truly I want to do, whether it's taking a walk or buying myself a present, having a massage, whatever it is. So you agree that's
Absolutely. That's exactly what you need to do. And you can't always just be with your partner. So you have to be able to have that separation to build on your own self-development. And I think right now is a very trying time with everybody stuck at home, because if you realize you don't have a lot of stuff to do on your own, or you don't have the same type of core values, there might be a little tension going on in the homes. And so even at home now, it's so important to be able to, get yourself into a good book, start doing some exercise, maybe take walks together, focus on being able to build your development together by doing some things like, going into your pool and just taking 20 minutes to relax. Those types of things are very important, especially now. So that's a really good starting point to build that foundation for intimacy.
Yeah. Love it.
I think another one would be keeping your honeymoon phase always around.
Oof, now that's tough because this corona thing, let me ask you a question. Is it just me, like when I'm home, I almost feel like I'm in a post-hurricane state of mind. Like I feel like we're back there where the shutters were on the windows and we're stocking up on food and we're in survival mode. We'll survive.
So you're trying to stock up on food, but you can't get it.
Exactly. But survival mode, it ain't sexy because I'm not putting on the makeup, maybe a light moisturizer if anyone's lucky in this house, you know what I mean? So sexiness is not really a priority when you're in survival mode. How do you overcome that?
And that is tough, but that the honeymoon phase is usually the first year or two. Then you start getting more content. So if you're not looking back and keeping that foundation or continuing trying to build that foundation of showing your partner how you love them, even in these times of crisis, it's going to be harder to stick together because you're not on the same team. So in these times right now, I would say honeymoon phase is at the end of a day when you are exhausted and you're just like, okay, I've just done everything. I'm bored. I'm stressed. Go ahead and take a bath together, a bubble bath. Maybe just lay in bed and snuggle and watch some TV. It doesn't necessarily mean you have to have sex. That's not what I'm saying. It's about finding that, but that comes later. That comes later because sometimes it's hard to feel sexy. But when you're starting off with the expectation of, you know what, let's just try to do different things to stay connected in these times, it's difficult because you are stressed. You know, you're running out of money. You're like, when am my business going to open? What am I going to do with the kids home from school? And everyone, their parents are pulling their hair out of their head and all this kind of stuff. So the last thing that many people are thinking about is sex. So that's why you don't necessarily have to force yourself into that situation of trying to feel sexy, but you need to do things to keep connecting. And that is where the honeymoon phase comes from. And that could just be something simple as, you know what, let's just do a massage tonight just to de-stress each other, you know, or maybe do it, yeah, one for your partner one night. And then the next night you do it for your partner. And the next night, then you're like, okay, maybe we've kind of de-stressed a little bit. But that's what I think is going to be important is people staying connected in a way where it's not just about intercourse, but finding those little blips of time.
That's good feedback. So you don't have to feel, everything is baby steps. Try to stay positive. But I'll tell you one thing, guys, turn the cell phones off and turn the computers off. I do think that is a good law of sex that, at a certain time, and TV too, 7:30, whatever time you agree on with your partner, take 1 hour of disconnection because the technology is a total and utter sexual killer. True?
Oh, absolutely. Well, especially because now with everybody home, I know many times, don't get mad at me if I say something. My fiance likes to keep the news on all day long. I'm like, if I hear one more thing about the corona, it makes it so consuming.
Mm-hmm.
It makes it so consuming that the only thing in your head is corona, corona, corona. Put the music on. Dance your ass off. Go have a good time and bring your partner, spin them around, bend them over the sofa, joking around. Just do something fun while you are home together and if you want to watch the news, take half an hour in the morning and a half an hour in the evening, before or after dinner. So at least you kind of get some updates.
Exactly.
But you listen all day long. All it does is it says, okay, well, this many more people are sick. This many more people. There's not much that's going to change from the morning to the night.
I agree 100%. That's exactly what I talked about. I think it was this morning I did a live. Don't watch the news all day. That would be my advice. 15, 20 minutes, whatever, and that's it. And then go practice your art. Whatever your business is, it's an art. You're creating
Absolutely.
something and you're providing a service and you're an innovator. And never forget your vision to be a productive person in society. Because if you watch the news all day, I think you're going to get depressed.
Oh, it is. It's depressing because then you realize rather than taking this time to truly be a better you, people are so focused on the news and news and news. Just do what you have to do. Stay careful, stay home as much as you can, and take advantage of this time goes back to building that foundation, to be able to say, okay, what am I going to do to better myself today? So tomorrow my relationship will be better.
I love that. I love that law of sex. That rocks.
That is a good law.
So let's break that down. What can I do better today? Well, I mean, here's the bottom line. Again, I think elimination of technology is one of the number one things. Yesterday, it was my fiance's birthday. I couldn't take him out to a restaurant. There really was nowhere to go to buy presents. There's nothing the guy needs anyway. So we went to the park and we had our yogurt in the car, in the park. I was like, don't you want to go sit on a blanket or something? And he's like, no, let's just sit in the car. It's safer. I'm like, okay. But breaking away from your normal routine.
Right.
Take a couple hours away from the desk.
Right. We're being forced to now. So take advantage of it.
What else can you do? I mean, there's literally nowhere to go. They've closed the mall. So, I mean, sex should be at the top of the list, shouldn't it?
Well, you know what? If people are home being stressed, it is a very good stress reliever.
There you go, people. Medical Dr. Stacy's telling you.
Yes, that is my
for you.
That is my prescription for today. It does help. I mean, having sex does help with the stress. I mean, it's sometimes difficult to start getting into it. But that's why, over the next, let's just say week, if people can take one of these little hints over the next week and just try to make a difference, by the end of the week, maybe they'll be able to feel a little bit better about themselves. Maybe they'll find something in common with their partner. They'll find a better value system or a core belief that they have, and do something different. Like the birthday, I talk to so many people I read with so many people on Facebook that they're like, oh, my birthday's here. We're just spending it with the family. This got canceled. You're just spending it with the family. That's the foundation right there. So for intimacy, it's going to be important for you to be able to kind of create that honeymoon phase where you're falling in love with your partner again. And now, even though it's as stressful as it is, this is a great time to start that.
Definitely. I love it. You should take this as a cue from the universe to reconnect with the people
Absolutely.
that are closest to you and put the time in. And we're going to have to get really creative. We went to the Hobby. God bless the Hobby Lobby. Went to the Hobby Lobby yesterday, bought some canvases, some paintbrushes, do things you wouldn't ordinarily do. Write
Absolutely.
a song, perform it for each other, put on some Frank Sinatra, dance with each other, get silly. I mean, if you can't get silly now, when are you going to get silly?
Well, that's what it's about. It's about one of my other suggestions was perceiving your relationship the right way and not having your partner as the one to make you happy, that you have to make yourself happy. So when you're doing these things to help with your development, if you're doing these things to reconnect, you're doing things to make yourself happy. You're going to get a puzzle at Hobby Lobby. You're going to, like you said, get painting and things like that you would not normally do. And variety is the spice of life. And that goes with the relationships also. So that's another law.
I like that. So, they always talk about that as a law of sex. Variety is the spice of life. So mix it up, do something different. What are some good resources on ideas on how to mix it up?
Internet. The internet is, all you got to do is, how do I spice it up? Or what are games. On my website, I have a shop. There's over 40,000 SKUs on my shop. There's
right.
Games, there's toys, there's lotions, there's so many different fun products. And it's not, like I said, it's not all about sex, not all sexual. It's about building that foundation for that intimacy, because you already figured out yourself. Now you got to figure out your foundation with your partner. And at this time, Amazon's available. My website's available. You could find toys, you could find games. Games are a great way because that is variety. A lot of people don't play games in the bedroom. So pick up a game and try to figure out, what your best positions are from the game, or different things to touch and kiss and suck and all this kind of stuff. Those are what the games teach you and help you do. So it's just something different.
What's your website? Just for
drstacyfriedman.com.
So what's your favorite game to play?
Any and all. Well, I'll tell you, there is something that's fun and it's simple and it's not expensive. It's called the dice game. All it is 2 dice, And on each, I'm looking around my counter to see if I have it. I have toys and stuff all over. My kids they're like walk in and don't even recognize it. But anyway, one of the dice says a part of the body, and the other dice says what to do: kiss, suck, lick.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah, and so you roll the dice, and one could say kiss nipple, suck ear, one, and then one of them has a question mark, so you can make up your own. So something simple like that could be.
You can even make your own dice, guys. Just make 2 decks of cards and make that same concept a card game.
Right.
You can play that game tonight, guys.
Absolutely. And sometimes they have like card decks where you can, and I know I have some over there, but I'm not going to get up to do it right now. But I know that on the card decks, they have all different positions. So sometimes you can just say, oh, you know what, let's just try something different. Let's pick a position out of the hat and let's try it. And you know what? If you laugh, if it feels stupid, it doesn't matter. You're having fun. And exactly. And you're making yourself happy. It's not about them trying to make you happy. You're just trying to do things to be happy.
So true. Life's too short not to have fun. Mix it up, play games, Google, play this amazing dice game or turn it into a card game. I love it. And having fun is one of those foundational elements too, because if you take it too seriously, then it's a turnoff. Because nobody wants to be pressured to have, oh, come on, lighten up. Oh, come on, stop being grumpy, but maybe have a preliminary communication to say, listen, at 7 o'clock, we're going to have fun. And for the next hour, we're going to break away from the world and we're going to dive into a fantasy together. And we're just going to have fun.
Ooh, listen to you. The only problem, it may not be 7 if people have their kids at home. It may have to be 9 or 10.
You know what? That's true too. So whatever.
And it may have to be a half an hour, not an hour.
You know what? Take 10 minutes, people. Take whatever you need. Just take it. And tell those kids to go to bed at 10 o'clock. They can't be up till 2 in the morning playing video games and upsetting the entire balance of humankind.
Otherwise, just lock your door, put the music on, and let them do what they want to do.
Oh, there you go.
But I'll tell you, I wrote a book, and it's called, what is it called? It's called Confessions and Lessons of a Sexpert. It can be found on my website also, drstacyfriedman.com. And it's also paperback on Amazon. But one of the quotes that I have in my book specifically says, if you're not having fun, if you're not laughing and having fun while you're having sex, you're doing it wrong. And I think so many people, I just want to talk real quick about a client that I had. Sure. And she was very shy, but she started getting comfortable with her now husband. And what happened is that she started understanding her body a little better and realizing, oh my gosh, I may actually be able to have an orgasm. She was so shy about being vocal. And what happened is that because she was always so quiet and she was always into herself when she was being intimate, she started having this orgasm and started screaming, and her husband laughed, but not in a way like ha ha, like ha, listen to you, but it shocked him in a way. And so what happened is that she actually got so uncomfortable that she stopped having sex anymore and wouldn't have an orgasm again. So my whole point to her was this is all about having fun. If you're laughing, laugh it off. Just be like, oh my God, did you hear how crazy I sounded? I was like a screaming lunatic. I say that all the time, but it's important to be able to have fun. Otherwise, it ruined her orgasmic pleasure for probably a good 2-3 years.
What?
Yes, until she started talking to me. And then finally she came to me and she told me what happened and explained that because she was so afraid and, he was laughing and it was all about, and I just try to tell her, it's all about having fun and making yourself happy.
It really is. I mean, that's got to be a judgment-free zone. And got to be comfortable with yourself and with each other and just forget about it. Listen, at this age, I mean, everybody that can benefit from your service is a different age. But what would you say is the average age of your customers?
The youngest I've worked with was 15, 16, and the oldest I've worked with was 88. Believe it or not, he wanted more. But I would
Wow.
probably say the average are people that have younger kids up to when the kids go out in their probably mid 60s.
What was the issue of the 88-year-old? I got to know.
He wanted to be a performer.
You broke up a little bit.
His girlfriend was just like, stop, no, I don't want that. And he's like
Wanted to be
wanting
a
to be, you know,
performer?
Mr. Viagra. What's that?
So he wanted to be better for his woman.
He wanted to be better for his woman, but his woman at 85 years old didn't want it any longer than those 2-3 minutes. But he's like, I want to go for at least 10 minutes, you know? So I'm like, more power to you, you know? That's what I'm saying. No matter what age you are, sex is still an important thing. But I would probably say my average clients are probably 38 to 58.
Have a lot of the clients that you've had traumatic experiences that they're trying to get past?
Um, Most of the people that I work with, since I don't do therapy on trauma, have usually gotten past a lot of it. But some people haven't. And so when I reach out to some people that are at the point where they're still trying to deal with issues that they've had previously, I usually recommend that they go see a therapist to get past that. So what I do with the coaching is taking a little bit more mentally healthy individuals that are just trying to either skill build, try to improve their relationships, trying to find ways to build that foundation again and reconnect, and they may have some dysfunction as far as, you know, erectile issues, orgasm, things like that.
So let's break one of those categories down. How do you help with erectile dysfunction, for example?
It so depends on what it is. Is it that they last too long? They don't last long enough. They can't get it up at all. Depends on their age, depends on medication they're on, depends on their situation with their partner.
There's people
Um,
that complain that it goes on too long. I never heard that complaint.
because it is because there's, you know, you have somebody, let's say in their 50s or 60s, and they're struggling having the orgasm. So they stay erect much longer. And what
Okay.
happens is that their partner, let's say their partner is a woman, and they're already in menopause, and they start getting dry after 5 to 10 minutes. They don't want to be lasting for half an hour, but sometimes the partner feels less of a man because they're not able to last that long. So we try to have to, you know, set different expectations for each person as an individual, each couple as an individual. I mean, as a you know, couple.
Yeah.
So that's what you have to see is like, are you just wanting to be longer because you're wanting to feel more like a man, or do you want to try to connect with your wife in a way that she wants to connect as well?
It sounds like, would you say you're more dealing with individuals or couples?
I would probably say it's equal.
Okay.
It's
And do you
pretty
have a
equal.
preference? What do you like better?
You know what? I think that many times when you're working with an individual that has to do with sexuality, unless they're really trying to be true to themselves, I love working with the LGBT community for people who are trying to either figure out their sexual orientation or their gender identity. I love working with people individually on that basis. But when
Interesting.
people are a couple, to be able to talk to one person out of the couple, it doesn't really feel as helpful, because many times as a part of a couple, you need that other person to understand where that other person's coming from. So working with couples is really, I just love being able to help each individual go back to that basic foundation of self-development and getting to know each person separately so we can combine together and improve.
So do you consult with the members of the couple separately at times and then bring them together?
Absolutely. I'll work with them together first, and then I take one part of the couple first, and then the other part of the couple second, and then we reconvene as a couple again, and we start building ideas, action plans, home assignments, different things, because each person's going to have their own issue or concern. So I may talk to someone, let's say I talk to a woman and she's got horrible, horrible self-esteem and it's really affecting her sexually. That's why it's important, like we were talking before, about loving yourself, because if you can't love yourself, you're not going to be able to have that solid foundation to bring to your partner. So it's going to be very important to work with her on her own sometimes, to be able to say, what can we do to help build this self-esteem and self-confidence so you can bring that into your relationship? And then we get the partner and find ways that the partner can help. So there are types that I can work separately and together in a couple.
That's amazing. I like that. I love how you're so strategic, and I'm sure those must be some homework assignments that they actually enjoy that homework, right?
I don't even say homework. I say home assignments, because it's not going to be work. It's going to be fun playtime.
Home play. This is your home play assignment.
assignments.
I love it. That's really amazing. And that you're helping people. You know, you're helping people set the rules of communication and engagement in their relationship.
Right.
And you're helping them, you know, do their thing. That's really, really important. So
I was going to just say, oops, I lost you there for a second.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say that, you know, when I wanted to kind of close up with what I was talking about building that to focus on yourself, build on yourself, and take those little times in the evenings to de-stress, and then focus on trusting, respecting, compassion, empathy, partnership, and forgiveness. Those are some very important aspects to focus on when you're trying to build a solid foundation to be able to build desire for intimacy.
That's, you know, that you brought up another really good in it, that the most, in addition to foundation, is forgiveness. You cannot have good sex with someone if you're mad at them.
Right.
So you got to let it go. You
Right.
can't hold grudges.
No, and I have people that are holding on to grudges from something that someone did 3-4 years ago, and they're wondering why they can't, you know, build on their relationship and it's not getting any better. You can't hold on to it. You either let it go or get out of the relationship, or figure out some therapist that's able to help work on that.
That's
It's
so
important
true.
to let it go.
It sounds like you can help with a lot of issues. Well, what was the issue that you helped the teenager with, the younger 16-year-old?
One of them was gender issues. I had another one that was 17 that I worked with, sexual orientation. And also there was a 19-year-old. So those are some of the younger ones. I'm just thinking of a few. Just basic skill building, understanding their body. They didn't feel comfortable even looking at themselves. And it was a female.
Okay.
So she didn't really know what was going on down there. So I kind of helped her learn about her body and understand relationships in general.
You know, that this is really important. It's a whole new area that I didn't think about when you started your show, which is, you know, parents watching out there, if you do have a child that does struggle with sexual identity, you can really help them by letting them work with someone like you, Dr. Stacy Friedman, because you could save their life. Because when someone's struggling with sexual identity, it can cause a lot of mental illness and depression and anxiety.
It gives me, I mean, I literally just got filled with goosebumps, because it is a matter of life and death many times. You know, they're 40% more likely to try suicide and have that pain of depression and all that. And some people say, oh, well, you know, they're too young to know that. You know what? You know who you are as you're young. You know, I try to tell people, let's say just even for gender, I try to say to people, when you were younger, when did you know you were a female? Well, I've always known. Okay, well, you don't think they do? It's here. It's not what's down there. And so it's the same thing with sexual orientation. When did you realize you were attracted to, you know, a member of the opposite sex? Well, I've always just been attracted to them. Okay, you know, and sexuality is fluid, so it can change. But sometimes it just takes a little bit of help from an outsider to help guide.
The truth is, you got to reconcile those conversations inside of your mind, and it's important to speak with someone that knows, that's educated in the area, and get the support that you need. Dr. Stacy Friedman, tell us about your educational background.
Well, I have a psychology background. It's my bachelor's in psychology. And then I have my master's equivalent for clinical sexology. And my doctorate is in human sexuality. So I'm all about sex.
Well, there you go. So Dr. Stacy Friedman clearly has the credentials to assist, whether you're an individual, whether you're a couple, whether you're struggling with identity, whether you want to improve the quality of your sex life and just be an A+ performer like that 88-year-old that Stacy told us
Yes.
about. And wherever that 88-year-old is, God bless you.
Yes,
That is
exactly.
freaking awesome that you
Well,
want to be.
yeah, I just want to say one more thing. I have 26 years of experience being an ultrasound tech in the medical field. So I think along with that, I have a very vast medical background. So I'm able to help people sometimes even more so knowing about how the body works and things like that. So it's
That's
definitely
so
good help.
important. And I learned a lot today. And I hope that everybody out there watching learned a lot of new laws of sex. What's your number one law of sex today in the corona culture? What's your advice out there to everybody watching?
Take the time now to, if you don't have that foundation, to start building a foundation since you're stuck home with your partners. Start growing and self-developing while you're able to now, getting on the internet, taking an online class, whatever you can do to improve on yourself, which hopefully will help the foundation of your relationship to help build more intimacy.
I love it. Well, I hope everybody learned something on the laws of sex tonight. I know I did. Dr. Stacy Friedman, thanks for being my amazing co-host and teaching us so much.
And thanks for being there for me too. And thanks for all you for listening. We'll see you next week.
All right. Stay safe, everyone. We'll see you next week.
Bye-bye.
Next Thursday night at 7:00 for the laws of sex. Mark your calendar and be there too next week. Bye, guys.